going on, guys? It's the kind of bearded one back with another beer review, and this one's a special one. I hate saying that over and over, but this one is a special one. And we're doing Oskar Blues, Guns and Rose. That's actually backwards on the camera. Let's put it over here. Might be easier to read over here. I'm not sure. Anyways, I don't think this beer is in production anymore. I was doing some research for this video because I knew nothing about it. I don't know a whole lot about Oskar Blues, unfortunately. And so I was looking this up, and of course, what do I see on Google? Rolling my eyes. Guns N' Roses filed a lawsuit against Oskar Blues for the rights to this name because it's so close to Guns N' Roses. Personally, I think Oskar Blues is just probably fans of Guns N' Roses, and this is obviously a rose beer, however you want to pronounce it, and they just wanted to make a fun name. You know, I think we're in a sue-happy country. I don't want to get too political. I do think we're a little too sue-happy in this country sometimes. I think everybody's trying to make a quick buck off each other, and personally, I think that's what Guns N' Roses did anyways. I'm not sad at the news that Guns N' Roses made an ass of themselves. I don't like Axl Rose as a person. I think Slash is one of the most overrated guitar players of all time, and I think their drummer and bass player were pretty good from the hits I've heard. They should have been in different bands, I think. Yeah, I think Guns N' Roses sucks in general. I'm not a big fan, never have been. Even when I was in my big classic rock phase, I was all about Led Zeppelin and Van Halen and Pink Floyd and bands that I thought were innovative. Like, who else would that be? Rush, or, you know, I just never fell into like that generic category of like Scorpions, AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, like bands that were dime a dozen, Def Leppard. Just weren't for me. Never have been. Anyways, I digress. Guns N' Roses, Guns N' Rose Oskar Blues. It's supposed to be, it has hibiscus and prickly pear, I believe. I've only ever heard of prickly pear from the Jungle Book when Baloo sings about the bare necessities and he asks Mowgli if he's had a prickly pear. I've never even seen a prickly pear, I don't think. So this should be an interesting beer. Side note, my last name is Ball. Shout out to Oskar Blues for using Ball family cans there. I don't think I'm related to the Ball cans or the Ball mason jars family, but I do like to see that name just because we share a common name. So let's get into this beer. Now, what is a rosé beer? Well, you're about to find out. But I've had rosé champagne. I had it on the interesting fact about me. I shared a bottle of rosé on the first time I ever hung out with my girlfriend at the time, who became my wife. We shared a bottle of rosé champagne, and it was pretty dang good. I mean, I'm not afraid to admit that I like pink champagne. It smells like champagne. I can smell it from back here. That smells like champagne. Plenty of bubbles going on here. It looks like champagne in your glass. Another factoid, just real quick. I think you might want to fact check. Don't quote me on this, but I think I gathered enough information to determine that they changed this beer because of the lawsuit troubles to a rosé for Daze. So that makes this can collectible in my eyes, and I'm probably going to keep the can just because, I mean, this beer will probably never, this marketing will probably never be around anymore because Guns N' Roses suck. Now, head dissipated. I mean, it's supposed to be a champagne-like beer, so it's not going to be thick and frothy and chewy, so that means not a lot of head. Definitely a champagne-like head for sure. Very thin sheet. I mean, very thin sheet of head, dissipated pretty quick. It definitely has that grapey, fruity champagne thing going on, that prickly pear, the hibiscus, you know, that kind of stuff. Let me see, I think I washed my hands. I don't want to get any soap. Let me just smell it like this. Yeah, I get a little bit of tartness, sourness, I think. Just a tinge. I mean, it's definitely not a Goza or a sour or even a Berliner Weiss. I think there's just a tinge. I get when exotic fruits are in something, I get a little bit of sourness, or even, you know, like grapefruit has a sourness sometimes. I know Oskar Blues made a beer here, so maybe if I trick my mind, I can smell malt, but there's almost no hop character in this, and they were going for champagne pretty much, champagne in a can. One more time. Okay, so this is a delicate beer. If you're looking for something with a lot of flavor, a lot of pungent flavor, I don't think this is going to be for you. They were definitely trying to, it says rosé, but it's not pink. It doesn't even taste like rosé really from when I had it, when I remember it. But definitely has champagne consistency. It's got that champagne carbonation, or just a lot of little light, delicate bubbles just dancing on your tongue, you know. Pretty active carbonation. I mean, it's good. I mean, it's a yellowish. It's more of a pale gold color. It's not real deep and amber, even though it looks pretty orange and deep on my camera here. Yeah, so I get a little bit of sourness, and I don't. Again, this isn't a sour or a goza. I think it's just coming from the hibiscus and the prickly pear. I don't know if I've ever had either fruit, so I can't decipher what's what, but I know it's in there. I taste the fruit. It is a fruity beer for sure. Again, that light, delicate, tingly, I don't even want to say prickly, that tingly champagne consistency. It's got a pretty thin viscosity. It's not a thick beer at all. Wouldn't expect it to be. What would I rate this beer as? Oh, one thing I was impressed with before we rate. I do get the hops in here when I'm drinking it, and I mean, it's just enough hops to where you know it's in there, and it balances out to where you know you just want to say it's champagne, but you taste the hops in there just enough. I mean, they put just the right amount of hops in there to just round it off and make it taste a little bit like beer. Give it just a little bit of beer character. And I appreciate that a lot. It really brought up the beer for me anyways. So yeah, it's just not a great beer, and it's not a bad beer. I'm gonna have to give this a C plus, 2.75 out of 5, and I give it over right down the middle at a C, because of the hops. The hops brought it up a tinge for me, and it gave it some beer character. I mainly just bought this beer for the gimmick. I don't really know what I was expecting. I didn't overhype this beer. I've said it in a video before. You could put a bad beer in a can, and in a nice can with nice marketing, and I would buy it. And here you go. It's not a great beer. However, take my opinion with a grain of salt. I really think I would recommend this beer to rookies all day. It even says, and I hate to sound sexist because let's just face it, in the world we're in today, I hope I'm not putting my foot in my mouth, but craft beer traditionally has been a male-dominated market, and I'm not saying that's a good thing by any means at all. I welcome change, and I love it when women are brewmasters and own breweries. You know, I would love it if my wife enjoyed craft beer. I don't view it as some like manly thing. You need to be a man to enjoy beer with hops and you know, women need to stay in their wine and their champagne. Like, I don't get into all that. But they do say this is from Oskar Blues. This is not for me. They brewed this in hopes to kind of bring women into the craft beer market, and I think it's okay to market to somebody. I don't think that means you're sexist or you're racist to try and appeal to a certain market, because it's just a fact we're going to have to deal with, that as of right now and prior to this year, men have dominated the market, and so we need to find ways to have inclusivity in craft beer and make women feel more welcome into the community. You know, I would love it if more women reviewed craft beer on YouTube. That would be cool. I think women have a place in craft beer. It's not just a male thing. So, according to Oskar Blues, not me, they brewed this for, you know, mainly to market to women. So I think if you're a woman that, and again, I'm not a woman, I don't want to speak for any woman who happens to see this video, so please, I really hope I'm not putting my foot in my mouth by saying this, but if you happen to be a female that is scared of craft beer, for whatever reason, Oskar Blues tried to make a beer for you, and I would recommend this beer for you. Now, I'm not trying to generalize women. There are plenty of women who probably enjoy beer much stronger than what I enjoy, and I follow some women that are brewmasters. So, politically correctness aside, I also recommend this beer to any rookie. It doesn't have to be male or female. Any rookie in general. I think this beer is light enough for you. I think there's just enough hops. You know, if something like a Boston Lager or just a regular ale with, you know, 30 IBUs, if that sounds pretty hoppy and bitter to you, this is probably the beer for you. As far as craft beer lovers go, this is just a gimmick. I see it as a collector's item. I don't think this beer is really meant for anybody else unless you just collect cans, or you drink anything like me, or you like good marketing. But I can't recommend this as a great beer to anybody else who's, you know, they've had more than just a handful of craft beer. Until next time, guys, cheers.